Over the remaining lessons in this section, we will explore the starter project more in depth so that you can more easily find your way around the codebase. And to make your life easier, I've also documented a lot of the existing code so that you can better understand the purpose of all the classes that you'll find. Okay, so let me start by giving you a quick tour of the project structure. And as usual, everything starts from the main.dart file, which is where we run the app with the root widget of the application. And in addition to this, I've also added some custom error handling code, which is useful to show any unhandled errors directly in the UI. And if you've never seen this code before, you can find more info by opening this link. Okay, so let's get back to our code, and next up we can command click or control click to look at the root widget of our app, which is located over here. Now, this doesn't really do anything special because it just returns a standard material app, which defines some basic theme data properties and uses this products list screen as the home page that you can see over here. So at this stage, it's a good idea to take a look at the various folders in the File Explorer so that we can get a better feel for how this project is structured. And as you can see, all the files in the project are located inside this source folder, which contains all these subfolders. And out of them, the most interesting ones are called features and models. And the main idea here is that inside features, we can find one folder for each of the pages that you can see in the app. For example, the product list screen that is loaded when we first start the app is located inside products list in this file called products list screen. And likewise, each one of these folders contains a file that ends with screen.dart, along with any other custom widgets that are used by that screen. And of course, if you open any of these screen files, you can easily find out which other widgets it depends on based on the imports at the top of the file. But for now, don't worry about all these files, because I'll give you a better overview about all the existing widgets and pages in the coming lessons. However, the thing that does matter is that I've chosen to structure this project using a feature-first strategy, at least with regards to all the widgets and pages that exist in this app. And one of the advantages of this approach is that all the source files that belong to a certain feature are grouped together inside the same folder. And we'll cover project structure more in detail in a later section where we will talk about app architecture. Instead, right now I want to focus on this models folder, because this is an important folder that contains all the data models that we need to show in the UI. For example, here we can select this product class, which contains important properties such as the image URL, the title, description, price, and any other information that we may want to show on the product page over here. And if you take a look at all the other model classes, you'll find that they are very simple, because all they do is to define a set of properties along with a const constructor that we can use to initialize them. And one thing that I want to point out is that all these properties are final. And this means that once an instance of a model class has been created, then it is immutable, meaning that we cannot change these properties directly. And as we will learn later, working with immutable model classes has a number of advantages. Also, one thing that you won't find in these model classes is the code for parsing these properties from JSON. And this is certainly something that we will need later on. But as I said, for now, this app doesn't really use a networking service or database to retrieve the data. And instead, all the products that you can see over here are hard-coded, and they are all defined inside this file called test products. And what we can find here is this global const variable that defines all the products data that we can see on the main screen. And as you can see, the image URL for each one of these products points to each of the image files that we have included in the project, meaning that all these images are loaded directly from the application bundle. And since we are already here, let's take a look at this folder called constants. And over here, we'll find a file called appSizes.dart, which contains this class called sizes that defines all the constant sizes that are in use throughout the UI. And these are all multiples of 4, which is a good idea if we want our UI to be consistent. Also, I have defined some global gap constants, which represent some sized boxes that are often used to space out widgets inside row or column layouts. So if you see these constants in the various widget classes, now you know what they are. Finally, we also have a utils folder which includes these two files called currency formatter and date formatter. And these are quite useful whenever we need to display a date or a currency, like in this product card where we show the price of a given product. So once again, there isn't anything surprising in this starter project. And if you know the basics of Flutter and Dart, you should be able to spend a bit of time getting familiar with this codebase without finding anything shocking or hard to understand. With that said, there is a fair amount of UI code that I have included as part of this starter project. And we'll have plenty of time to explore this more in detail as we make progress with the course, including in the next section, which will be all about navigation. Okay, so let's continue on the next lesson where I'll give you a better overview of the UI side of things.